Hello everyone, Marianne from Revealing Light Tarot. How are we all today? Wherever you are in the world when you're watching, a huge shout out to you. I want to start with the astrology, bearing in mind that Australia is about 15 hours in front. We have the moon in Aries moving into Taurus, and I think the big follow-up here from my reading, my astrology reading the other day, and thank you all for all your very supportive and wonderful comments, because as I said, I was a bit under the weather, but I'm fine now, so thank you very much. But we have the Sun conjunct Saturn, Mercury conjunct Pluto, Venus conjunct Mars. So there's some heavy blending of energies there. The Sun, which is the life, it's life affirming. It is the most radiant, positive in our zodiac, and it also illuminates, exposes what needs to be exposed. And of course, Saturn is the great taskmaster around our structures as well, representing our governments. And so we get this tension we're seeing right across the world at the moment, whether it's in Ottawa, in Canada, between the convoy of trucks protesting vaccine mandates for government workers, or whether it is in Australia at our Parliament House, where we've had protests as well. I mean, this is worldwide. There's also this feeling that there has to be change, and so we're at the end of a cycle, and we understand what needs to be changed, but we're not quite clear on how that change will look like. Well, Saturn is reminding us we're seeing these things so that we can get an opportunity to decide how we want to move through the present and into the future. Mercury conjunct Pluto. Now this, if you're in the US or indeed globally, and you're going, well, what's going to happen today? In America, the bombshells just keep coming about the attempted coup. In the UK, we have the Prime Minister on the ledge. Can he hang on? The revelations are coming around the way that he approached lockdown, which was very different from what they were ordering the people to do in lockdown. So, can he hang on? In Australia, oh dear, in Australia, we've got cabinet ministers calling the Prime Minister a psycho. I'm quoting from news stories, and some very underhanded stuff coming out. His own deputy called him a liar. I mean, it's like our current Conservative government is imploding, and the bombshells keep on coming. And so that Mercury conjunct Pluto, what needs to come up from the underworld, what needs to be brought to the surface so that we can see, and Mercury, the planet of communication. So these things will continue because these conjunctions continue. Very intense in February. Venus conjunct Mars. Mars, the planet of action, sometimes aggression. Venus, the self, relationships, and our internal values as well, represented by our community. So again, it's probably, looking at it positively, it's probably a good time to get mobilized, whether that's politically or in any other way. We do have Venus trining Uranus. That's a good thing, Uranus being the planet of rebellion and change. So you can see, looking at the astrology at the moment, you can see why our world events look the way they do. And I would wager that if somebody up top or at the top level is trying to keep a secret, it's kind of bound to come out at the moment. So they probably should hire astrologers so that they can be advised. There's a lot of leaking going on. Okay, let's move to our questions today. So what I want to do is take a quick look at Russia at the moment. The talk is they have something like 200,000 troops on the border of Russia, bordering Ukraine. Putin, of course, is saying he doesn't intend to invade. So what's he doing amassing troops? Well, go back and look at my Russia readings. You will see that this is a game of Russian roulette that he's playing. I do also think this is diversionary as well, because you're getting those in the US, on Team Russia against their own government. So I think wherever he can divide, he will. The big question is, does he intend to now? I mean, my previous reading showed that there would be an incursion, not a full-scale invasion, and I wonder if he will invade one of those cities, Kiev or a city on the border there. So let's ask that. Will Putin actually move into one of the Ukrainian cities? Will the Russian troops take one of the Ukrainian cities? Because that's what Russian roulette is, isn't it? Being prepared to go that extra mile. It's not really a bluff. So the Six of Pentacles, we've got giving, receiving help, loans and debts. That's interesting. He needs those resources, so within his own country. Now, crossed by the Queen of Swords. Now, she comes out. So even though he may need what Ukraine has in some way, the Queen of Swords comes out with wielding that Ace of Swords. So it's not as if he can cover up what he's trying to do. He's being crossed by logic. He's being crossed by she strides forward with the truth. So there's no grey areas with the Queen of Swords. So that's interesting. Now we have the Four of Pentacles. Again, you can see this insecurity. I just had an orb whiz by there. So Spirit's in the room. You can see there's some real insecurity around resources and money here. So we maybe don't know the full story. Now the Five of Swords in the past, we have it's a strategy. It's a strategy that doesn't really take into account that Ukrainians want to remain free, or the majority of them want to remain free. They don't want to come back into the Soviet Union. So there is a strategy here that is abusive. I'll just put it like that. It's bullying. It's striding forward, wanting to get your own way. This Five of Swords is not an easy energy. That's in the past. What's in the sky here? The Chariot. Yeah, I think it's going to take us by surprise and move something very, very quickly. And we have the Five of Cups as the outcome. So we have loss here. I think there's going to be some sort of loss of territory there. Seven of Pentacles, though. This is review, which is clarifying that Five of Cups. And the Eight of Rods, things moving very, very quickly again. So this could easily just take us by surprise. We have the Devil card there at the base of the pack. The Devil talks about needing to move through some kind of very, very, very toxic, abusive situation. There's an attachment there that needs to be broken. And we've got partisanship here, and the King of Pentacles and the Tower card. Now, because we've got the Sun here, I think it's going to play out in real time. We're going to see exactly what's going on. The King of Pentacles always comes up when I read on Russia. They're the oligarchs. There's one of his main motivators here is money. I have to say that. Now, how that plays out, whether he gains personally, financially from this, I think there could be still on the cards, so to speak, an incursion. Not a full-scale invasion, but some kind of incursion. The question is, how will the West react? That will be interesting, but that's for another reading. I've got a lot to get through right now. This is mainly your Q&A. your questions and the cards answering that. Some of you have asked, well, yes, your cards say that he'll be indicted, but you don't ever see him being convicted. What I see, I don't necessarily see him in prison, but I do see him exiled. I do see him, whether that's house arrest or what that is, I'm not sure. Let's ask. Okay, so... All right, I want to move to the former ex-pres Trump. Okay, let's have a look here. What's this? So we've got, it's like somebody fighting over pulling at things. What's this? Okay, will he ever go to prison? I think, I do see poverty ahead for him. Not poverty, but I do see a massive fall politically and otherwise in the future for him. And it's almost like his resources are very, very scarce, because that's what I see people fighting over scarce resources. Okay, indicating a great loss of money for him. That could even be true right now. We wouldn't know. He has... something like 100 million in a war chest for his campaigning, but you really wouldn't know the true extent of his debt or how his business is doing. We would never know that. Okay, so let's have a look. It could be Melania wanting to take off. Now we have here the Sun card, which is interesting. The Sun conjunct Saturn. Okay, will the ex-President Trump ever be convicted? Will ex-President Trump ever be convicted? There's a coat hanger here. Why have I got some bizarre energies here at the moment? Hung up. So we have here the page of the Four of Cups. So this looks like a loss for him, but one cup is remaining. I mean, would they really put an ex-president into the prison population, or would they exclude him, isolate him is the word I want to say. So we have definitely a downfall here. I'll bring the laptop down. You can see these cards. So we have here disappointment for him. He feels like he's lost. There is one cup remaining. However, it's the end of his cycle here. The Ten of Swords is pretty graphic. And what we're seeing is more Republicans coming out, including Pence, coming out and moving away from him, distancing himself from them. Right at the moment, we have the Eight of Pentacles. This is money, bringing money in. This could even be the money laundering card. It sometimes turns up that way. His ability to bring money in. Two of Swords in the past. So he faced a crossroads. Two of Swords. Will he be convicted? He brought the US to a crossroads. Let's see. The Ace of Rods in the sky crowning this reading. That would suggest a yes. It looks like there is going to be a downfall here. This can also be skill working toward conviction. Now, the Two of Cups tells me that those around him will play a huge part. Now, sitting next to the Ten of Swords, you're going to get people flipping on him. And really, this is what he's worried about. The Seven of Swords, the lies, the deceit. But this is also a strategy of taking something away and leaving something unguarded. I'm going to January the 6th. This is a deceit prevailed upon the American people here, the voter. That's interesting. That's the moment. That's in the present. So, yeah, we've got all sorts of problems with voter suppression, trying to jig things for the next election. The hopes and fears, the Magician here. I don't see that as Trump anymore. I see that as Garland and Biden. Now, the Four of Pentacles, does he get convicted? That would be it's certainly money loss. That's what I was seeing. So the conviction could be the shutting down of his business, for example. That tends to be what I see here. But we also have ill health and retreat. These aren't good cards. Now the other, he has to defend himself. All right, so the moon card, things coming out, things bubbling up from the surface, and we have the death card here. So there's definitely endings. There's movement toward ending his influence, betrayal in the past. I think he is going to be convicted, but I don't see it as a jail sentence for some reason. But what I have seen is his ill health here, which would, now these are the outcome cards. So we're moving toward this new start. There's definitely this move to get the sucker, to get him, to pin him down. And it is around the money and his business as well. I'm seeing that in these cards. And so I also see this, this is the outcome, is he's fighting massive battles in the courts for, maybe a decade, who knows, however long he might have left to live. But I do see a great fall from power. I do see extreme money problems here. And of course, the Four of Swords can be ill health, definitely is retreat. So, and he's fighting these situations out in court. So it could be the conviction that I'm seeing. The real penalty would be to shut down Trump.org. Things aren't ever going to go well for him again. This is the end of him. And those that are around him will eventually flip. So is that justice for him? Absolutely. I can't imagine him, a malignant narcissist without any power levers at all and no money, and perhaps even some kind of house arrest if ill health doesn't take him beforehand. I don't think you need to worry about that. Let the universe do what it needs to do. Now, I want to go to the anti-vaccination mandate protests in Ottawa. I'm not turning this reading into an anti-vax versus vax kind of a reading, but protests, everybody has a right to peacefully protest. I understand that the truck convoy is actually holding things up in Ottawa. It's having an effect in Canada in terms of a physical effect, and the police are going to move in to disperse them, which is what they did in Canberra. And the main organiser of the anti-vaccination protests had a GoFundMe page, raked in $200,000, and was found with a gun there. Now, if you understand our laws, you understand that the guns, we're not allowed to hold guns unless you're a recreational or a farmer shooter. You need it for your business. You have to apply for a license, go through stringent checks, and so he had an illegal gun. So the question I'm going to ask about Canada, are there nefarious forces here? Could even be some truckers are being paid to protest. So that's the question I'm going to ask. Are there nefarious, disparate type of groups here hijacking anti-vaccination protests in Canada, trucking protests in Canada? I'm not saying all of them. We've got the Two of Swords. There's a crossroads here. It's heavy energy. Heavy decisions will need to be made about that convoy and how it's dispersed. Okay, so are any truckers being paid to put this convoy on? Are any truckers being paid to put this convoy on? As you know, trucks, when they're out of work, people go bust. Six of Pentacles, yes, some of them are being helped by who knows what sort of force there is. We've got the Magician, which of course is manifestation, but it can also be manipulation. So this could also signify that those trucks that are involved doing the conscientious objection are losing money hand over fist, but I'm asking, are there any nefarious forces? We've got the Sun here. We're probably going to find out. The Sun conjunct Saturn here, and Mercury conjunct Pluto. The Knight of Wands is in the past. That's movement. That's the convoy. And we've got the Seven of Pentacles in the sky. It is going to cause a review. That whole convoy, everything's up for review, and I think that includes mandates, and the Ten of Pentacles, business people. So what I'm seeing is that this is actually started out as a conscientious objection to those mandates, but there is something here clarifying the Ten of Pentacles, the Four of Pentacles. That's sort of the money loss. They are losing money, and it could be that they don't want to lose money because they don't want to have these mandates. They don't want to be vaccinated. So I think this is actually hitting Canada economically as well. Five of Pentacles. The truckers now are worried about their own businesses. They may come to some kind of dialogue with the government. I think a lot of them want to go now, the Eight of Pentacles, because it's hitting their bottom line. Now, I do see some parts of this convoy are, because the outcome cards are the Eight of Pentacles, the Ace of Wands, and the World card. Some elements of this convoy are being financed, possibly with overseas interests. That's the card, the outcome card, the Eight of Pentacles. But I don't want to make the Ace of Wands a plan or a project, and the World card. So that's quite clear. There could be some elements that are being funded from overseas. But I also see there are conscientious objectors there that are losing money hand over fist because their trucks aren't working, and they have what they believe is a valid point to bring forward. So that's the reading there for the Canada trucking convoy. The government will have to dialogue with them, I do feel. Anyway, let's go to Pence. Why did Pence take so long? Mike Pence, why did he take... I'm going to pull a kipper on him. Why did he take so long to come out and disavow Trump, the ex-president, over the January 6th? Why did Pence take so long to break with Trump on January the 6th? Why did Pence? The Lovers, well, Trump's out of the gate there, and the Knight of Swords, the truth coming out. That's pretty clear. He waited until the political climate was right. Previous readings that I've done has shown that the old guard of the Republican Party are actually helping Cheney and Kissinger. They are supporting them. There are very powerful Republican, old party Republican efforts to try and bring Trump down. He's got made some powerful enemies within his own party. Pence waited until the January 6th committee had done its job, and this truth was coming out. Okay, the Empress card as the foundation of the reading. Now that's abundance here. But it's also my card for Russia. He was isolated, the Hermit card, in the past. And we've got the Queen of Wands, which is my card for Cheney, in the sky here. Two of Swords, he had to make a decision because so much truth had come out. The Hierophant, the government in the here and now, and the Five of Swords, uncovering an abuse of power. It was all in the timing for him. It was inevitable he had to break with him, but he wasn't going to do that until enough information on January 6th had come out. Page of Cups, he will now start talking to that committee, and he is joined by others who are also talking, hence the cards, the King of Pentacles, hence the negative cards for Trump. Three of Swords, betrayal. So at the base of the pack are the Nine of Swords and the Sun card and the Eight of Cups. So, you know, he did the right thing on January the 6th by certifying those votes. He is not unconstitutional. He may be many things, but he's not unconstitutional. In fact, he stood up. He stood up to be counted on that day. He was waiting for enough information for him to say what he said. So from that, I would say there's some powerful forces within the Republican Party that are agitating to get rid of Trump. Now, I just want to do just a quick kipper on Pence, because I do feel this is part of a 2024 run for him. I also think Cheney may put her hat into the ring. Now, the DOJ has subpoenaed and got telephone records from Bannon's lawyer, who was also the lawyer to Giuliani. The records go back a year. That indicates that the DOJ is investigating the January the 6th matters. But we wouldn't necessarily know that. They obtain those records through a particular law that allows them to do that and not advise the customer, the phone customer, the holder of the records. They don't have to advise them. So that shows you the veil of secrecy over everything. But now to, okay. I'm drawn to do the kipper on Merrick Garland. Okay, that's what we'll do. We know Pence, we know where he's come from and where he's likely to go. Let's look at Merrick Garland, the kipper via Merrick Garland. Okay, I want to see Merrick Garland. Will he get Trump? Will he prosecute Trump? Merrick Garland, will he prosecute Trump? He's definitely working on those around him. Adjudication is in the past. He's already, remember, he was on the appeals court. This is the past. Let me bring the laptop down. What is behind is what is in the past. Then we have the bad health, ill health here. Things taking a turn for the worse. Doesn't mean he has bad health. It means that something didn't go his way in the past. He's at the nomination. But we asked, will he prosecute Trump? So at another level, these are cards that show that he's already doing so. But he's also been restrained as well. Big time. Restrained big time. False person. Wow, okay. Wealthy man. These are Trump's cards. Oh dear, I asked, is he going to prosecute him? Look what the kipper has given me. He's got this, as a former judge, he's got this in mind. He sees Trump as a traitor. Now the House, okay, January the 6th, the Congress, the gift. Okay, somebody's giving him something, and enough to end the wealthy man. Look at this, imprisonment, the wealthy man ending. That absolutely mirrors the previous reading I did on Trump. Somebody has given him something, Garland something. There's a gift here. And we have adjudication. He's already, in the past, has already been on the job, the House being the insurrection. Okay, so we've got great fortune and message of concern. It seems to me that it's going to go well for Garland. And occupation, yeah, okay. Yep, okay. All right, so there is deep thought around this. He is being restricted in a way as to what he can and can't do, but he's been on the job from the get-go. He didn't just take over the DOJ and divorce himself from the law. I know that sounds bizarre from the way that he thinks about adjudication. I think there's an idea here to put those that in prison that need to be in prison. And as we have the wealthy man here, I think he's going after Trump. Okay, I wouldn't like to be in Trump's shoes at the moment. From those readings, he's got a lot of enemies, and they're coming from all sides. I don't see him as a winner. All right. And Garland's on the job. All right. Thanks for tuning in. Bye for now. Thank you also for your very generous donations. Bye for now.